this is a nightmare to get the whole thing in the video shot, so I may just drop in a still photo, but welcome! We're going to make the Hearthside Mobius Wrap. Now this is in a super bulky yarn, so it works up super quickly. We're going to make it in 2 colors, and I'll talk more about the materials in a second, but I just wanted to show you this has a Mobius twist in it, which we're going to set up when we crochet the first row. The other thing I want to mention is in this piece, which is the original model, I used the dark color for the first couple of rows for the center, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to use the light color because I just think it's easier to see. So let's get right to it. Okay, I made my sample with about 630 yards of a super bulky yarn. I used Peyton's Highland Bulky Tweed, and I used 5 skeins of the dark and 4 of the light. I used a crochet hook size L or 8mm or size needed to obtain gauge, and you're going to need a stitch marker, trust me. And as I said earlier, I'm going to actually start with the lighter color just because I think it's easier to see on camera. So the first thing I want to talk about is the start. Now you can make a chain and join into a loop and make a round of single crochet if you want, but I like to start my Mobius pieces, especially when there is a large number of stitches to count, with a foundation single crochet. So I'm going to go over that real quick too. Why not? You're going to want 100 single crochets in your first round, but I'm going to make a smaller sample just for the sake of getting it all on camera. But no matter how many foundation single crochets you want in your first round, you're going to start with a chain 2. 1, 2. Now you're going to the second chain from hook and inserting your hook into it, yarn over and draw up a loop. Now we're going to chain 1 and finish our single by going yarn over and draw through 2. So there is my first foundation single crochet. Now if you go to the bottom, it's a little hard to see on the first one. It gets easier as you go. You're going to see it looks like the top of a regular stitch. You're going to go under both legs. Go under this leg, go under the leg behind it. Yarn over and draw up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Chain 1, still 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, draw through 2. That's my second foundation single crochet. So essentially you're creating the chain and then the single crochet that sits in it all at the same time. See how it's easier to see now? So you're going to insert your hook under both of those loops. Yarn over and draw up a loop. Chain 1, yarn over, draw through 2. You're going to keep going until you have 100 of these. And again, if you need instructions on how to do it with just a regular chain and single crochets, you can get that and the whole pattern on the blog, which is linked below. You can also purchase an ad-free PDF of the pattern if you need one to refer to on more than one occasion. But I'm going to keep going. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do 100 stitches, but I think I'm going to do like 28. This pattern works on a multiple of 4 if you need to adjust it to be larger or smaller. So I'll be right back. So no matter which set of instructions you followed for the beginning, this is what you're going to end up with, only much larger. A long row at this point, it's not a round yet, of single crochets. So now it says, join row 1 into a ring by putting a slip stitch in the bottom foundation chain side of the first single crochet, which puts a 180-degree twist in the ring. So here we go. The first thing we're going to do is hold it into a ring like this, making sure that we don't have a twist in it, because the twist, we want to put a deliberate twist in here. We don't want to do it by accident. So now it's all smooth. And now it says, put that slip stitch in the bottom of the first single crochet, and you can see that because that's the side where the tail is. So I'm going to flip this guy. this way. So here's the top of my stitch that I just finished. I've put a deliberate twist in here, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the bottom of that first single crochet. And as another shout out to the foundation single crochet, look how neat that edge is. It makes it super easy to work into. So the next thing I'm going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Place a marker in the top of the chain 3. So I'm going to get my stitch marker and I'm going to put it in the top chain of that chain 3. And again, a lot of people have difficulty trying to figure out their placement on the first round of a Mobius. That marker is to help us get there. Now it says, let's see, double crochet in each of next 2 single crochets. So there is my slip stitch in my chain 3. So I'm going to double crochet in each of these 2. So there's 1 and 2. Now we're going to chain 1, and then here's the beginning of our repeat. It says skip 1 single crochet, double crochet in each of next 3 single crochets, chain 1. So skip next single crochet, double crochet in each of next 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. Now, it says repeat from asterisk all the way around to the marker, working on the top of the row 1 single crochets once all the bottom foundation chains are full. You'll have stitches on both sides of the first row. So I'm going to work around until I'm done working on all the bottom, and then we're going to talk about how we flip over to the other side. So I'm coming up. Now remember, this is not the end of round 1. I'm only halfway through round 1 because I've only worked on one side of the Mobius. So there were 4 singles left on the bottom or the foundation chain side of that first row. I did double, 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 skip 1, chain 1, and then here where I see my marker, I'm not going to join at that marker. I'm going to twist it so that I'm now working on the top of the stitches. So we're going to keep going to our pattern. So we did chain 1, skip 1, so it's 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets, and you can see what's happening is these double crochets are lining up on either side of that row 1. They're syncing up so that they're right on top of each other. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish this half of the round, and when I do that I'm going to go back. I'll be back where that stitch marker is, and then from here on out it's a lot easier to see what you're doing, I promise. So the only tricky bit is that little twisty at the beginning, and there is a separate video that I have here on YouTube. I'll put a link below that is just about doing that twist, about putting that twist in on a single crochet row, because I have used this technique on multiple patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this half of the round, and then we'll come back and take another look. So here we are. I'm just coming to the end of the second half of the round, and as you can see, I'm coming up to my marker. So we're going to finish that. Let's see what it says. Join round. Let's see, we ended with skip 1 and chain 1, and it says join round with slip stitch and marked chain. So that's this guy. I'm going to take that marker out because I'm going to need it later. So we're going to join in the marked chain. And then it says slip stitch in each of next 2 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, and in next chain 1 space. So I'm going to pull this loop up so it doesn't come out because I want to show you a bunch of things. One is, here is our twist. So now that we have our rounds established, when we work all the way around, we're working around this side and all the way back, and then we come back to the beginning. So a true Mobius, which this is, only has one side, so it's not like one side and the other side. When we're working onto the first row, we're working on one side of the first row and on the other side of the first row. But once we've gone around both sides, introduced our twist, it's now a one-sided piece. It is a true Mobius, and the round is always going to begin and end in the same place. The other thing I want to point out is my beginning of the round was here, and now it's here. And a couple rounds from now, it's going to be here and here and here. The round drifts to the left, and that is okay. We're doing it so that we don't have ugly color changes, and it is okay that that happened, and that's exactly what's supposed to happen. So now we're going to change to the B color and chain 3. So I'm just bringing up a loop of the yarn. I'm not doing anything too crazy, and it's a little loosey-goosey in here, but that's okay. We're going to tighten that up when we weave those ends in later, and I am cutting the yarn. I am not floating it up from section to section, because with the super bulky, the rows and the rounds are this big, and it's just an enormous float, and we don't want that. So we're going to chain 3, place that marker in that third chain. Now it says double crochet in the single crochet below that chain 1 space, and you want to make sure that you're holding your working yarn in the back because you want to enclose that chain 1. So what we're doing is we're making our double in this single crochet. It is below the chain 1 space, but I'm holding my working yarn in the back because I want to enclose. I'm finishing my double. I want to enclose that chain 1. Now I'm going to put a double crochet in the same chain 1 space. And it's important to enclose that chain 1 because I want it to look the same on both sides. Because this is a Mobius, because we are seeing the work from all different angles, I want it to look the same no matter where you look at it. So let's keep moving on. Now it says chain 1. Double crochet in next chain 1 space, so I'm skipping these 3 doubles. I'm going all the way over here. Double crochet in the single crochet below, making sure to hold that working yarn in the back. So you're enclosing the stitch. You don't want to be in front of the stitch. You don't want to be behind the stitch. You want to enclose it. Chain 1, moving on to the next one. And it's telling me to go all the way around to the marked stitch. And I'm going to join in that marked stitch. So I'm going to meet you right there, and we're going to see what that is all about. So here we are at the end of the round 2, coming up on our marked stitch. And then we're going to chain 1. Join in that marked stitch. Take that marker out. Slip stitch in each of those next 2 doubles. Slip stitch in the next chain 1 space. Now we're going to do the 3rd round right now, and then we're going to repeat the 3rd round until 13 rounds have been completed. However, you're only going to change colors every other round, so I don't have a color change in this round. I did in the previous one. So you're going to note that every other round you're going to have a color change. So here's my chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're doing the same idea that we did before, although instead of working into that single crochet from the first row, we are working into the double crochet of the first round. So it's yarn over, insert your hook in that double, finish the double, keeping the working yarn in the back to make sure that you're enclosing, and then double crochet in the same space. Chain 1. Just show you one more time, it's the same thing we've been doing. It's very intuitive. Double crochet, double crochet in that double crochet below, keeping the yarn in the back so it looks the same no matter what angle you look at it from. Chain 1, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my stitch marker in the top of that chain 3. It is important to mark the beginning of the round because it's really hard to see otherwise. So at the end of this round, we're going to join here, slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch, change color if it's a color changing round, work the same color if it's a same color round, chain 3, and keep going. So you're going to keep going until 13 rounds have been completed, and then we're going to put on a finishing round, which I'm going to show you in just 1 minute. Once again, you can see on our little sample here how we have our Mobius twist going on in the front, and that's going to continue to hang out there as you make your piece bigger and bigger and bigger. Now the last thing I wanted to go over was the final round because it's ever so slightly different than the previous rounds, and you will not have a color change if you follow the pattern exactly. But again, I went to the lighter color. I just think it's easier for you guys to see on camera in the lighter color. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and place our marker. And this part is the same as we've been doing. We're going to put our double crochet in the double crochet below, and the double crochet in the same space. So that part is the same as what we have been doing. Now we're going to chain 1. Here's where it gets different. Skip just 1 double crochet and slip stitch in the next one. Remember, this is not going to look so obnoxious to you because you're going to do it in the same color as the previous round. Chain 1. Now here's our repeat. Double crochet, double crochet in the stitch below, double crochet in the same chain 1 space, chain 1, skip 1 double, there's 3 here, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in there, chain 1, off to the next one. So the reason we're doing that, we're getting a little bit of a scallop to the edge, which I kind of like, but also if you notice on this previous round, those chain 1s make some kind of big gaping holes because we're working in a super bulky. So by putting the slip stitches there with the chain 1 instead of just chain 1 and skipping all that, it makes it neater. We're not going to have big gaping holes, and again, it gives me more of a scalloped edge. So you're going to keep working that till you get to the bitter end. You're going to join, you're going to fasten off, you're going to weave in your multiple ends, and you're going to have this big, beautiful Hearthside Mobius Wrap to wear when it gets cold out or to give as a gift. And you can get this done in a weekend, I promise. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Remember to check out the blog if you need the pattern, either the free pattern on the blog or you can purchase a paid pattern with no ads. And as always, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, check me out on the other platforms, all those good things so I can keep fresh new content coming to you. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.